what Hands Across the Border was all about was making a challenge between the state of Georgia and the state of Florida to see who could reduce Labor Day fatalities the most. And it has grown from there. 1991, I was just another face in the audience supporting Hands Across the Border and traffic safety. I was working a highway safety grant. It was back in those days called STEP grants, or selective traffic enforcement programs, and I just was there as a supporter of Hands Across the Border and have attended all 24, and September the 2nd I'll be there for number 25.
We all lovingly call Captain Hires Dad and Granddad. As old as I am, I call him Granddad. He has been a mainstay with this. Sometimes I really believe that we may have gotten off track a little bit had it not been for Captain Hires keeping us on track, saying, hey, Hands Across the Border's coming. This is how many years we've been doing it. We can't stop. We've got to keep going.
The very first day that I met him, his passion and his dedication for highway safety hasn't changed. Luther was very, very, very instrumental in the success of Hands Across the Border. It was really a pet project that he took on and would travel not only, you know, in his area, but he would travel across the entire state, pulling a rollover simulator, pulling the impaired driving trailers. I mean, he was really a cheerleader for Hands Across the Border. He is absolutely his dedication and his passion for what he does has just saved countless lives.
When I first came into this job, I kept hearing the name Luther Hires. Luther does this and Luther does that, and Luther does a lot of things. And I got to know him, and I considered him a friend. He is a good Christian man who loves his family, loves his community, loves his state, and does not want families to have to endure what he did in terms of losing a child.
I've knocked on those doors. I've told people that loved ones were not coming home. 1987, that knock came on my door when my firstborn son was killed in an alcohol-related crash, and he had chosen not to put a seatbelt on and was ejected from the vehicle. And that, to me, has been my drive to promote highway safety, promote education.
I know that Dwayne Cowart and John Brudge, the two that started Hands Across the Border, 25 years ago, has got to be proud of what it has become, because it did. It started with one checkpoint or one location on I-95 to expanding it throughout the whole state.
Football is not the only competition amongst the southern states. That friendly rivalry in a same profession, not only do you get advice, but it spurs you on to try to do better than the folks that are around you. You watch their numbers just as you watch your numbers, and you want to be able to do the best by your citizens, and it's a motivating factor. So football's not the only thing we compete at.
In 1986, Sergeant Dwayne Cowart retired as a Georgia State Trooper, and he came by the police department and was telling me about an event that they were trying, and that was Hands Across the Border. When it started there for the first few years, it was between Georgia and Florida. Ricky Rich came on board with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and we grew to where we were doing all the states that bordered Georgia.
When we took over coordinating the event, I decided that let's just try this with all of our neighboring states. This is such a great thing with Florida and Georgia, and then what we're doing with Alabama, that let's go ahead and include the other 4 states. So we divided up into 2 teams and began to communicate with our partners on the other side. The same excitement that we had in Florida, we started seeing across all the states. And our byline was that it doesn't matter where you travel in the Southeast over this Labor Day holiday period, we've got all law enforcement agencies partnering together to save lives on our roadways.
The main thing is that we all work communitively. We're all after the same goal, regardless of which uniform you're in, whether you're in police officer's uniform, a sheriff's deputy, Georgia State Trooper, Alabama State Trooper, whoever, we're all there for the same goal.
And what I tell my advanced traffic law classes is, do your job. And if it's one of those cases where it gets changed to something else, then just remember this, that because you did your job that night, you saved somebody's life. It might be the person you put in jail that was driving impaired, or it might be a family of 4, 5, or 6 that you kept that impaired driver from hitting. It's extremely important to get these impaired drivers off the road.
1 out of 4 fatalities in this state can be attributed to drunk driving. Alcohol is involved in some way. And that's something we can do something about. You know, we can't change the weather. We can't change construction on a road. We can't change a blowout on a tire. But we can change people's behavior one way or another.
You look at a program that gets you together and has the person that does the same job on the other side of the line. You have a familiarity of each other. You know who to call. You know that command structure. You know who to reach out to for advice. So it's a no-brainer. It literally is a no-brainer.
You're on one location, and you can look right down the road, and you see the other state on their side of the state doing checkpoints as well. So it's just really an exciting time that you know that you are partnering with other states to save lives on your roadways. You're in one location, and you're actually doing a multi-state checkpoint.
0 is our goal. Do we think we're going to get there next year? No, but we've got to do our part. The Highway Safety Office and law enforcement officers around the state, we've got to do our part to reach the goal of 0.
It'd be actually weekends or actually during the holiday that we had no fatalities on the interstate highways where we had hands across the border. So that was a real positive thing for us. But really just knowing how many lives that we were actually affecting with the life-saving messages that we're putting out, not just in Georgia but across 6 states, and it was very impactful.
I hope everyone who goes around the state during Hands Across the Border has a good time, enjoys that fellowship, and I hope that you will just renew your resolve to make our roads safer for all that use those roads. People deserve to drive on safe roads, and we owe that to them, and I thank you for your part in doing that.
It's unacceptable to us as a community, whether it's this state or any other state, that dying in an automobile accident is socially acceptable. That, folks are going to be out on the roadways and there's just going to be, an associated number of wrecks that are going to occur and people are going to die. That's absolutely an unacceptable mindset or thought process to what we do. We do take it seriously. It's a number that we watch very, very close, and it motivates us to do what we can.
Hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement officers are now involved in Hands Across the Border, and the publicity is just unbelievable. So what started on I-95 has certainly expanded, and again, we can't count the number of lives that initiative has saved.
We can't do anything that we do at Law Enforcement Services side of the house without them. The sheriffs, the police chiefs, the commanders of the state patrol, and all those guys, they are true partners with us, and I can't thank them enough for what they do for us and for the citizens of this state.
Sometimes feel like we're alone, I think, and sometimes that we're fighting battles on all kinds of fronts. And sometimes you find out that your neighbors in other states are fighting the same battles. It doesn't make it any easier, but at least you know somebody is in there carrying the load with you. And I am proud of what has happened with this. I hope it is around for many, many years to come. And I hope my friend Luther Hires is around for many, many years to come as well.
It's important to me that Hands Across the Border has grown the way it has, and I hope will continue to grow, because as I said earlier, what's important now is saving lives. Whether it's the life of an officer, if it's the life of a violator, or if it's the life of a family that a violator might meet.